I feel very comfortable that I made the right decision. Obviously, time will tell. But I think I did it with a clear conscience. I did it with what I felt was necessary to make our basketball program the best.
WSU Athletic Director Lou Perkins is talking about his decision to fire basketball coach Gene Smithson and his entire coaching staff. The announcement comes just 2 days after the end of Wichita State's season. Good afternoon, I'm Rose Stanley. Wichita State is in the market for a new basketball coach this afternoon. That after the dismissal of Smithson, who compiled his worst season record since stepping in as head coach in 1978. For more on the story, we'll go down to the newsroom where Randy Brown is. Randy, certainly his worst season, but not a losing one for Smithson.
No, Rose, but it wasn't a winning season either. The Shockers had 14 wins and 14 losses this year to come out 500. Their last loss, final loss for Gene Smithson at Wichita State came Monday when the Shockers lost to Illinois State in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. The announcement did send shockwaves through the Shocker Athletic Department today. Sports Director Mark Allen joins us with some details. I guess winning and losing wasn't the only issue here, Mark, but the big one at this point.
Might have been the biggest issue. As you said, this really is the end of an era. Gene Smithson and MTXE have been a big part of Shocker basketball, of course, over the last 8 years, and there have been some great moments over those 8 years. Most memorable, the trip to the NCAA tournament back in 1981, the victory over KU and the Battle of New Orleans and all that. But as far as winning and losing, again, a good reminder, I think, today that in any kind of coaching, it really is a what have you done for me lately sort of profession. And Lou Perkins, in making the announcement at this afternoon's news conference, really cited what he felt was a decline in the program over the last 3 years. The Shockers losing 12, 13, and now 14 games over their last 3 seasons. So let's go to Lou Perkins. Here's some of what he had to say this afternoon at the news conference.
I didn't make it any particular time. I did begin to evaluate the program from the day I got here. I had some concerns last year in the direction we were going, and as the season progressed throughout the year, it just became very clear to me that I had to make a decision. I saw some concerns. Basically, the 3 areas that I was concerned with is our attrition rate in our program, our attendance, and the apathy in our program right now. And after evaluating those kinds of things, I felt it was time to make a change. If you looked at the program over the last 3 years, we've been beginning to decline, and it's my responsibility as athletic director at this university to look at that kind of scale and see where the program is going. You know, it's wonderful that we were able to go to NCAAs and NITs, and those are all important. But I began to have some concerns about the direction of the program and where we're going to be not only this year, but the next 2 or 3 years.
Mark, of course, the Shockers are probably suffering and have suffered the last couple of years from the NCAA probation that hit them in the early 80s. A lot of people might say, hey, what do you expect? 2 years on probation probably hurt recruiting, probably hurt the program, contributions, and fan support.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think this program still has not completely recovered from the NCAA probation, even though that is now 3 or 4 years in the past. Something else I think you need to keep in mind, Wichita State basketball really is the cornerstone financially of the Wichita State athletic program. And Lou Perkins cited a number at this afternoon's news conference, the fact that this season alone, Wichita State fell $250,000 short in what they had budgeted as far as the kind of money they hoped to make this season with Shocker basketball. So that, of course, was part of the reason as well, apparently. Gene Smithson has won 66% of his games as the head basketball coach at Wichita State, which ranks him #1 in winning percentage among all modern-day coaches. So anytime you fire a coach with that kind of record, there's going to be some reaction, and there has been plenty. Here's some of it.
You know, Coach has been very special to me my last 3 years, and Coach Shaw and Coach Jones, and you know, it just hurts tragically because you know they were part of my life for 3 years, and they were like my family. I seen them more than I see my family, and it just hurts that you know I won't be able to play for them my final year, which I wanted. I wanted my final year to be special.
We've created a tremendous monster here, and it's great while you're winning, but nobody here wants to be around it when you're losing. And I know where they're going. It's become a big business, and what can you do? The name of the game, whether it be a corporation is to show profits, the bottom line. And unfortunately, the bottom line in college athletics is winning.
You know, Coach, you got to understand, Gene Smithson and I go back to the days when we were both high school coaches, laboring in the high school ranks for years and years. Gene Smithson was not born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Gene Smithson fought his way through the ranks, fought his way into collegiate basketball, fought his way through his years at Illinois State, and then fought and brought Wichita State out of the doldrums of Division I basketball. And I think he deserves a greater fate than what is transpiring.
Mark, you mentioned the financial problems that the Shockers may be suffering, and this is not going to be an inexpensive thing for Wichita State to do. What's the cost at this point, do you know?
At this point, we don't exactly know. We do know that Gene Smithson does have, or did have, 3 years remaining on his contract at Wichita State, and right now his attorneys and the attorneys for the university are trying to work out a financial settlement, but it is going to cost Wichita State possibly quite a bit of money. His base salary was $75,000, so there's going to be some money paid out to get him bought out of this contract.
And I guess the Shockers are probably going to have take a little time to find a successor. This is NCAA tournament time, and it's going to be a while before they can approach some of the
Well, it's
coaches.
really two sides to this coin. On the one hand, if they're going to try to hire the kind of guy they're talking about, the very top coaches, of course, are coaching in the NCAA tournament, and those guys will be unapproachable until they are knocked out of the tournament. But you've got National Signing Day looming right around the corner, so you can't wait.
Every one of them, from Smithson right on down. Good evening, I'm Rose Stanley. We'll get to that story in just a moment, but first, there is a fire burning out of control in downtown Wichita. So we go live to Marcia Starles, who is up in Sky 10. Marcia, it was rather windy and still is, with gusts of 15 to 20 miles per hour. Is that affecting the firefighting efforts?
Well, at this point, Rose, the flames and smoke are quite spectacular. The smoke is covering the sky up towards the helicopter where we are now. The fire is totally engulfing one end of the building. The wall at one end has collapsed. Firefighters expect another end or another side of the building to collapse momentarily. As you can see, firefighters have water on the building from several different angles. At this point, they believe it is the old Southwest Oil and Grease warehouse at Waterman and the River. They believe it is vacant. The building has apparently been sold, and it is due to be demolished. What we understand is that firefighters will apparently let it burn. They are trying to keep the fire under control for the time being, but they will let it burn until the fire is all out. At last report, there have been explosions at the site. One theory now, Rose, is that a transient could have started the fire, but that is not yet confirmed. As you can see, the firefighters are still pretty busy down there, just trying to contain the fire.
Marcia, is there any guess at this point, or guesstimate, I should say, on the amount of damage?
Not yet, Rose. As you can see, the fire is still burning pretty heavily. At this point, firefighters do say they will let the fire burn until it is out, so they are calling it a total loss at this point.
Okay, thank you very much. Marcia Starles, live from Sky 10 above downtown Wichita, where a fire is burning out of control at the old Southwest Grease and Oil plant. As I said just a minute ago, WSU basketball coach Gene Smithson is out of a job. Mark Allen joins us now with more on this. Interestingly, it was not a losing season, but it was his worst season, and he came in. His first year was 14-14, and that is how he's departing.
It's kind of ironic to look back. Gene Smithson's first year, as you said, 14-14. He will leave with a record of 14-14 in his final season. There were, of course, many good moments in between, though, but apparently not enough good ones the last couple of 3 years to save his job.
And it is a surprise.
It came, I think, pretty much as a bolt out of the blue, unless you've been talking to Lou Perkins toward the end of the last half of the season. He has looked very much like a man with a lot on his mind. He's been worried about attendance and other things, and today he made the decision he felt he had to make. After 8 seasons of Gene Smithson and his MTXE brand of Shocker basketball, there will not be a 9th. Smithson and his staff have been relieved of their duties effective immediately. The official announcement coming from Athletic Director Lou Perkins this afternoon. You saw it live here on Cake, and now joining us live again is Wichita State Athletic Director Lou Perkins. Lou, you made it very clear at the news conference this was your decision and your decision alone. Tell me how you made it and how it all finally came down.
Well, Mark, obviously, as I indicated before, it's probably the most difficult decision I've probably ever made in my life. Professionally, it's not one that any person likes to make when you have to relieve somebody of their responsibilities. And so I want to make sure everybody understands that. It's a decision that I evaluated our program over the last 3 years. Obviously, I looked at the attendance, I looked at the apathy in the program, I looked at the attrition rate of our basketball players. There are a lot of other things that go into making that evaluation. I want to make sure people understand it has nothing to do with Gene personally or any NCAA violations or any of those kinds of things. It's strictly an administrative decision that was made that we felt that it was time that we had to make a change because we saw the program beginning to slip.
There is most definitely a financial side to this. As most people know, Wichita State basketball is, in many ways, the cornerstone of your athletic program financially. Tell me something about that. You quoted a figure this afternoon concerning a $250,000 loss this season alone.
Mark, you know, you've stated it very accurately. Basketball is our #1 sport in terms of finances, and we saw a decline over the last 3 years in season ticket holders. We saw a decline and even with the people who were coming to the game who had already bought tickets, we had about a $250,000 problem related to basketball, and we thought, you know, with the success we had last year and somewhat success we had last year, that we were able to budget some finances that would, you know, help the program, and we just saw a tremendous decline over the last 3 years.
Lou, we have less than 30 seconds left. Where do you take it from here as far as a successor is concerned?
Well, Mark, you know, I'm very positive about our basketball program, and I feel real good about where we are in terms of trying to bring in a top-quality basketball coach to Wichita State. I feel that, you know, with our community and our fans, and, you know, I'm sure there are some people that are upset with us right now, but I hope that they're loyal to the basketball program and that they will stay with us, and that will help us attract a very good basketball coach.
Lou, I know it's been a difficult day for all of you out there at Levitt Arena. I appreciate you joining us live here at 6 o'clock.
Well, thank you very much, Mark.
Lou Perkins joining us live here from Levitt Arena. Now, today's announcement has created a situation similar to the one Gene Smithson stepped into back in 1978. The Shockers had gone 13-14 in Harry Miller's final season, and Wichita State turned to the colorful Illinois State coach known as Radar Gene to breathe new life into the program.
And our basketball program is going to explode. It's going to be a demanding program, and it's going to be an exciting program, and we're very excited about the challenge.
And so began the era of MTXE Shocker basketball. After 3 successful seasons at Illinois State, the flamboyant Gene Smithson came to Wichita State, where he would lead the program to some of its greatest peaks and lowest valleys over the next 8 seasons. His tenure began with a 14-14 season, but then the rise began. 17-12 and a trip to the NIT, followed by the high water mark in 80-81, a 26-7 campaign, highlighted by a trip to the Final 8 of the NCAA tournament and the victory over Kansas in the Battle of New Orleans. Smithson followed with 2 more 20-win seasons, making him the only Shocker coach to put 3 20-win years in a row. But those successes were overshadowed by the NCAA probation that rocked the Wichita State program at that time. Even though Smithson was virtually exonerated, it was a blow the program is still recovering from. His final 3 seasons began to reflect a gradual decline with 12, 13, and now 14 losses, although Smithson did make a second NCAA tournament appearance last season. Gene Smithson is the second winningest coach in the history of Shocker basketball, and his winning percentage of 66% ranks him first among his modern-day peers at Wichita State. But his era ended with this afternoon's news conference. Now, the reaction to all this has been pouring in all afternoon, and we have a cross-section of it for you right here, from a Wichita State player, a student, a key booster of Shocker athletics, and a man who has known Gene Smithson ever since his high school days in the suburbs of Chicago.
No, I'm very saddened by that. I think it's a sad commentary on our business, that that there are such short memories for the thrilling years that he brought to Shocker basketball, for the quality person that he is. And I think we all need to sit back and take a long, hard, cold look at what we do to each other in this business, because it is one of the great injustices that I have seen in this business in a long, long time.
Well, of course, I hate to see Gene leave. Gene's a good friend of mine, and so is his family. And, of course, you build up a real close relationship with him being here for 8 years, and he's really done a great deal for the university. We've had some great programs out there, and there's turnover in coaching staffs, which, of course, we've witnessed out here before. I really thought that there was a possibility that this could happen.
He produced some good names here in Wichita, and I think it's a little premature that they just let him go after 1 season, that he didn't do good.
I can tell that, you know, he was very emotionally upset, you know. I don't care how strong you are, you know, like he said, it came to a shock to him, and I'm sure it did, you know, because just the other day in the locker room, he was telling us that we was going to be a great team next year. We was all going to work hard to be it, because we all have pride, and all of us believe that. And we'll just have to continue to do that without him. But I'm sure all of the players next year when we start...
Of numbers which frankly speak for themselves, and they are impressive, but there's no question that the styles of the two principal characters in this scenario, Smithson and athletic director Lou Perkins, clashed from the very start, as Perkins wanted more control of the basketball program that Smithson had controlled for so long. In the end, you have to believe that that was a factor in the move. Frankly, in my mind, the action was a little premature, but it's done, so now we look back at Gene Smithson's career.
Gene Smithson arrived in Wichita in 1978 after 3 20-win seasons at Illinois State. His 8-year stint with the Shockers began with a 14-14 campaign. Over the next 3 seasons, Smithson would lead Wichita State to 3 consecutive postseason tournaments. It was during that time Wichita State would record the biggest victory in the school's history, a 66-65 win over Kansas in the 3rd round of the NCAA tournament. The future was never brighter. Smithson had just signed blue-chip recruits Aubrey Sherrod, Xavier McDaniel, and Greg Dreiling to go with All-American forwards Antoine Carr and Cliff Levingston. Then the NCAA imposed a stiff 3-year probation. The Shocks would win 48 games in 1982 and 83, but would watch the playoffs at home. Over the past 3 years, McDaniel and Sherrod led Wichita State to a pair of postseason berths. But without X and Aubrey, this year's inexperienced squad finished the campaign at 14-14. Smithson ends his Wichita State career with a record of 155-81.
Game totals of 32 points and 17 rebounds to help lead Tulsa into the championship final against the 9th-ranked Bradley Braves. Bradley ousted West Texas State in the opener. Then Hersey Hawkins provided the difference as they knocked off arch-rival Illinois State on this drive by the talented sophomore guard in the final seconds of the semifinal last night. Tonight, Tulsa challenges Bradley for the postseason title with a guaranteed spot at the NCAA tournament on the line. SNI Sports Network presents the Missouri Valley Conference College Basketball Game of the Week. Today's game is being brought to you in part by State Farm. For a good price and great service on all your family insurance, check with a State Farm agent nearest you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Coors, the beer with a difference worth tasting. Coors is the one. And by TWA, leading the way, TWA. Welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've got the 1 and 2 seeds in the Missouri Valley Conference postseason tournament doing battle here tonight. The Bradley Braves, the 9th-ranked team in the nation with a 22-game winning streak on the line. They take on the host school, the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. This is actually the 2nd year that Tulsa has hosted the postseason event here in the Valley. They lost last year to Wichita State, but despite that loss, Tulsa still went to the NCAA tournament. Many people feel, regardless of what happens here tonight, they should get another NCAA berth. Stay tuned. Championship basketball coming up next.
Have been associated with Nutrisystem since 1980. It's been an exciting 5 years, helping people with medical problems and just to feel better about themselves.
We're not just a diet, we are a total program. Listen to what Sheriff Mike Hill has to
say. Welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's the Tulsa Golden Hurricane against the Bradley Braves. You're looking at the Convention Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The site of tonight's battle between Tulsa and Bradley. An NCAA tournament berth is at stake. Pleasant good evening, everyone. Wayne Larrabee with Larry Conley. We've got a great matchup tonight. Bradley and Tulsa both survived close calls in the semifinals last night. Matter of fact, Tulsa got by Drake largely because Tracy Moore not only scored 27 points, but he made 2 crucial free throws down the stretch.
Well, you know, they made 2 crucial free throws. He spent most of the evening at the free throw line. He was 13 of 15. It was instrumental in that cliffhanger that they got to in that semifinal game last night.
Well, of course, if J.D. Barnett's squad is to win, they're going to have to contain Bradley center Mike Williams.
Well, what we have to do to stop Mike is keep him from getting the basketball. Once he gets the basketball, he's going to score. So the key to us is preventing him from getting it. If you count and he gets the ball more than 10 times in the first half, we're in big, big trouble. We've got to limit the number of times he gets the basketball.
I'll tell you something, Mike Williams has been unstoppable, Larry. 40 points and 19 rebounds in 2 games of this tournament.
Well, he's the Hulk Hogan of the Missouri Valley Conference. He's one of the biggest people in the country in college basketball, and he's absolutely right. J.D. Barnett has to stop him on the inside if they have a chance.
Yeah, they don't call him massive for nothing, do they? Let's take a look at the situation from the perspective of Bradley coach Dick Versace. He sees keys on both sides.
I think the key for Tulsa will be to solve our defenses. We play a variety of defenses. We know 19, we play 15, and we never play less than 12. If they can do that, and they should have a very good opportunity to do it because it's the 3rd time we played this year, then we'll be up against it.
AC. Southeastern Conference playing the qualification games at Lexington, Kentucky tonight in that tournament. First game this evening in front of only 13,000 at Rupp, and it's bizarre to see fewer than a full house at Rupp. Mississippi State came back from a 10-point deficit to win 62-54 as Ricky Brown had 20 points in that game. The nightcap, Ole Miss is just doing it all over Tennessee, 54-39. That is in the second half. So now we know that in the bracketings of the Southeast Conference, it is going to be Mississippi State playing Auburn. That is tomorrow night in the first of the evening games at Rupp Arena. And the winner of that nightcap, and right now it certainly looks like it's going to be Ole Miss over Tennessee, will play Kentucky. So you can project Mississippi State right in there to play Auburn. The top half of the bracketing tomorrow, it'll be Alabama and Georgia. Florida takes on LSU. We will be having bonus coverage of that game, of all the games here on ESPN. And we'll be checking the Big East and other scores from around the country. Bradley, a loser. Tulsa, at home, a winner. They have the automatic bid out of the Missouri Valley Conference here on ESPN.
This portion of the championship game has been brought to you.
And that was a final of 76-66. So now you can put Seton Hall into the bracket proper of the Big East. They will take on St. John's. That is the 7 Eastern time game tomorrow night live on ESPN. Our nightcap tomorrow, Villanova and Providence. Our coverage begins tomorrow afternoon with Syracuse and BC, very competitive game, and Georgetown and Pitt around 3 Eastern time tomorrow afternoon. In the Southwestern Athletic Conference, if this score is correct, days are over with the Shockers. He was fired today. J.R. Reed of Virginia Beach, Virginia, 6'10", high school senior, the most highly sought-after recruit in the country, has declared today he'll be going to North Carolina. We will be back. I'll be joined by Chris Wallace tomorrow afternoon at 1 Eastern time with the Big East, Bob Lee for Conference Tournament Central. See you then.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to ESPN's coverage of baseball's greatest hits. In conjunction with Major League Baseball Productions, we're bringing you a look at some of the highlights and great moments in the game of baseball. Today, we're going to take a look at the beginning of the national pastime. When we say beginning, we go right back to, was it Abner Doubleday that started the game of Major League Baseball? Or was it Alexander Cartwright, Ty Cobb, Pete Rose in his chase of Ty Cobb's all-time hit record, and also the great Walter Johnson? Those are just some of the names that will crop up during the course of the next half hour on baseball's greatest hits.
This bud's for all that you do.
Carlos, I need 100 of these by Friday.
My friend, I'm retired. My son is running the business now.
You know just where you're going. It's true, your pride is showing, cause you make America work, and this bud's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
One can of WD-40 just doesn't seem to be enough anymore. Americans are finding more ways to use it than ever. Now's the best time ever for you to double up on WD-40. It's not just that you could win $5,000 in WD-40's Double Take Sweepstakes. It's that you could win $10,000. But not for long. Look for this display to enter the WD-40 Double Take Sweepstakes. Prizes total $80,000 in cash and shopping sprees.
He says he is innocent. He says fatal vision is a lie. Jeffrey McDonald in the April issue. Buy it to
News today. The best way to describe what happened at Wichita State today is just to say that an era is over.
the Gene Smithson MTXE era, an era that had tremendous highs like this victory over Kansas in the now famous Battle of New Orleans. This victory lifted the Shockers to the Final Eight of the NCAA tournament. But in the very next year, WSU's basketball program went on probation, and the effects of that are still being felt today. Even Smithson admits the probation hurt his recruiting, and that has hurt his record. WSU finished 500 this season, 14 up and 14 down. So Smithson is gone. But assistant coach Rick Shore told me he'd like to stay around and pick up the pieces.
I'm going to work very, very hard, Dave, and I'm going to campaign to see that if somebody's going to get this job at Wichita State here, then I'd like to have a chance at it.
Perkins said a search will begin immediately for a new head coach. Wichita State is looking to find another offensive-minded one. Joining us now live in our newsroom is longtime Shocker booster Buck Alley. Buck, did you folks who buy the tickets and support the program have any inkling about what was going to happen?
I know I didn't. I don't know whether anybody else did or not, Dave.
I know you have a good thermometer on what's happening at Wichita State as far as the other boosters are concerned. Have you been able to be in touch with any of your friends? What's their general reaction?
I haven't really talked to very many, but surprise is primarily the thing, and I just don't think anybody was expecting this, even though we had a 500 season. Gene has certainly done a lot of things with the program in the past and has brought it a long ways.
You've certainly been critical at times of the Shocker program. You've been supportive most of the time of the Shocker program. What's your feeling of what happened today?
Well, as you say, I have shown criticism. I guess I'm one of those kind of people that believes in saying what you think, and I really feel at this point that I'm on Gene's side and would actually think that maybe he deserved another year if rather than just a 50-50 season and putting him away. I think that no question, with attendance down like it was, I'm afraid that's probably the biggest factor.
All right, Buck, thanks a lot for joining us here tonight. I spoke with Coach Smithson by phone earlier today. He doesn't want to comment at the moment on camera. Wichita State and Coach Smithson are still working out the details on how to settle the remaining 3 years of his contract. The Missouri
Basketball, maybe there's someone lurking in his own closet. If Lou Perkins was to promote from within, which frankly seems unlikely, is Rick Shore, who along with Jeff Jones was in large part responsible for the tremendous recruiting done by the program in the last 8 years.
I just pray and hope that they'll consider me for the job. It's, you know, I've been an assistant coach now for 8 years. I'm 42 years old. I was a head coach for many, many years in the high school ranks. And I think I know the business of college athletics pretty well. I think I can do as much for Wichita State basketball to keep up the tradition as anybody that they could possibly bring in here.
He's a good man, but then so is Gene Smithson. It should come as no surprise that the state of Kansas dominated the Big 8 award. Public about it is that under Ted Bradyhoff, Gene Smithson had pretty much unlimited control with what he did with that basketball program. Lou Perkins came in and obviously cleaned house and wanted to gain more control of each program within Wichita State's athletic department, including the basketball program. And I think therein lied some of the friction that we saw come to a head today.
All right, thank you, Bruce. We'll be right back in just a moment.
There have been some important changes in 86 car owner manual recommendations that Pennzoil wants you to know about.
Appearances. Now, at the start of the evening, Bradley, with its 31-1 record and its number 9 ranking in the polls, well, the Braves knew they were assured of an NCAA berth, win or lose tonight. Now, Tulsa, on the other hand, was one of those teams sitting on the fence. They may get invited to the 64-team tournament, but just as easily, they may have not. So the Golden Hurricane had a much more pressing need for a victory in this tournament championship game tonight, which, of course, carries with it an automatic NCAA berth, and that is exactly what Tulsa got. Playing on its home court, the Hurricane put together 40 minutes of outstanding basketball. David Moss with the reverse inside, and Valley Coach of the Year Dick Versace just couldn't get the job done tonight. Moss connects again, this time to jumper 35-29 Tulsa at the half. They quickly opened that margin up to double figures in the second half. This play gives you an indication why Jeff Riley with the hustle and the effort on the boards. Tulsa goes on to win it by 16, as we see on the board, 74-58. Moving on to top 20 play, Indiana wins the Big Ten battle over Michigan State 97-79. And in the championship game of the NAIA District 10 tournament, Emporia State knocked off the defending national champion Fort Hays State Ball Club 92-84. And a clean sweep for the Sunflower State today in Big 8 basketball honors. The AP made KU's Danny Manning a unanimous choice as Conference Player of the Year. Manning also won that same award in balloting done by UPI, and the UPI also named Larry Brown as Big 8 Coach of the Year, while tabbing K-State's Norris Coleman as Newcomer of the Year. And back on the Wichita State campus today, the Shocker baseball team ran its record to a perfect 6-0. Here in Game 1 of the doubleheader with Washburn, Dan Rayleigh connects for a 2-run shot over the fence.
Close ones. The last thing expected of them in the finals of the Missouri Valley Conference was to lose on the short end of a blowout. But after piling up a 31-1 record, the Braves finally folded. Tulsa bombed them. Tulsa's J.D. Barnett was really hunkering down for this one, I want to tell you. As we look at the high, there he is. He's getting ready. Golden Hurricane coming up on the fast break. David Moss, Tracy Moore, jam. Tulsa by 3. Bradley was denied the inside game, so Trevor Trimpe filled it up from the outside. 24-23 Braves, but this would be their last lead. Late in the first half, Byron Boudreau drives to the iron. Tulsa led 35-29 at the half. Second half, Brian Raleigh coming up to Moss, who takes it inside, lays it high off the glass, and Tulsa's up by
News Talk, I'm sure there's lots of telephones ringing right now, so we'll get right to Kevin.
All 3 lines. Susan, Rick, first of all, thanks for stopping by today. Did you have any idea this was coming down?
No, not really. I didn't find out about it till yesterday morning.
And your reaction at that time?
Well, it was upsetting. Family to look after. You've worked very, very hard for the past 8 years trying to do what you thought was right for Wichita State basketball, and it's just one of those things that comes with the territory.
Have you talked to Coach Smithson since the word came down yesterday?
Oh yes. I was on the road recruiting, and when I flew in yesterday morning, I had a message to call Gene, and I went out to the house, and that's when I found out about it. How did he take it? Well, I mean, I saw him 24 hours later or 15 hours later, and it's hard. It's hard on everybody, but he seems to be taking it okay.
Part of coaching, then?
Yeah, it's all part of it. It's something that you hear talked about often enough that you want to prepare for it someday, but I think as much as you prepare, when it happens, you'll be totally unprepared. But Gene's a survivor, and I'm sure that he'll land on his feet, and he still has 3 years left on his contract, so I'm sure that some kind of settlement will have to be made there.
Let's go to the phones. You're on News Talk with Rick Shore.
Yes, I'm Bill from Wichita. I have a comment and a question. I think the firing is long overdue. It seems to me that the fellows have done an awful good job of recruiting, but they can't seem to recruit anybody that can stay eligible, and they can't graduate very many. And I'd like to know how Mr. Shore expects to be able to do any better when he's the one that's been doing the recruiting.
Okay, loaded question there, Rick.
Well, it sure is loaded. I think that when you write up a bunch of statistics that anything can be read into them. As far as eligible players, in our 8 years here, 2 players have become ineligible. One was Cedric Coleman at the beginning of this year, and the second was Michael Arline at the semester break. And in all reality, Michael Arline was not ineligible by NCAA standards. He was just made ineligible by Coach Smithson.
How many players do you have now in junior college trying to get eligible?
I don't know of any players that we have in junior college that I don't understand what you mean by that question.
Well, when they become ineligible, you send them off to junior college to try to get their grade level up so they can be eligible the last 2 years of their eligibility. Isn't that right?
We don't have any players that we have placed in junior college over the last couple of years that had signed letters of intent at Wichita State University.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, we had one that we tried to recruit at a junior college, at a Hudson Junior College a couple of years ago, that didn't make it, and we didn't take him in school, and he's at another school. He's at another university right now. But
okay, Bill, I'm going to move on, okay? I want to give somebody else a chance. Okay, you're on News Talk with Rick Shore.
Yes, my name is Lynn, and I live at Wichita. And the only thing I have to say is I think it's the biggest mistake that WSU has ever will make.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Thanks for the comment.
Thank you.
You're on News Talk. Hello. Hello, are you there? Hello? Well, here you go. You're on News Talk with Rick Shore. Hello?
Hello, this is Gloria Stevenson of El Dorado, and I'd just like to congratulate you on what you've done. I think it's fantastic, and Wichita needed the change. WSU needed it.
WSU needed a change? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's time for a new coach.
Okay, there have been reactions like that, Rick. On the other hand, you've got a coach with a winning record overall, the time he's been at Wichita State. You've got a guy who's been to the NIT twice, the NCAA twice, the Final Eight once. Was there a period, I guess I'm saying why?
Well, I can't answer the question why. Of course, Mr. Perkins gave his reasons why. He's done a very good job while he's been here at Wichita State, and I can't answer the reasons why. I think he covered most of his reasons in his press conference yesterday. Everybody makes decisions, and everybody that makes a decision always feels that that's the right decision, and I'm sure that he feels that he made the right decision, and he's the one that's running the program at Wichita State, and that's the decision that the people of Wichita are going to have to live with and respect. There's just nothing that can be done about it.
Okay, back to the phone. You're on News Talk. Hello. Hello, are you there?
Yes.
Go ahead.
This is Craig Cox from Wichita. I was wanting to ask Mr. Shore if he did become coach, as he said said last night that he thought he should be, what changes he'd make in the program.
Okay.
Well, to answer your question, I certainly would like to have a chance to become the head coach at Wichita State. Every individual is going to do things that he thinks are right. No two people are going to do the same things. I would just go on and say to the people in Wichita that I would try to recruit the type of student athlete that will go to school and will play very exciting basketball, and at the same time will represent himself well in the classroom and well in the community. And I don't think that this is any different than what we try to do here in the past. I think we have some fine young men that have gone through this program, and we don't have anybody that has been through this program that stayed 4 years in the program that isn't successful right now, whether it be in the NBA or in some type of business.
Okay, thanks for the call. One final question before we run out of time. You had a lot of talent on this year's team. Do you think they played up to their abilities, and if not, why?
Well, we have a lot of talent, but at the same time, when we were 8-3, 3 guards went down at the same time, and we lost one to eligibility, and then one was out for 3 weeks, and one was out for 2 weeks, and that upset the apple cart a little bit. And they're young kids, and
his fans are going to make it very clear that they're not too happy with yesterday's decision, and there is a rally being planned for 6:30 this evening to protest yesterday's firing of Shocker basketball coach Gene Smithson. That rally will take place just outside the on-campus residence of Wichita State University President Warren Armstrong, and we plan to bring you a live report from that rally next hour. Some college basketball scores for you from already this afternoon. The Big East tournament, Syracuse ripping Boston College 102-79. Georgetown just getting by the Pitt Panthers by a final of 57-56. And later this evening, sub-state high school basketball playoff action begins for Southeast, North, and Heights of the Wichita. And those folks have something to say, and they are doing that right now. Yesterday's firing of Shocker basketball coach Gene Smithson is still the talk of the town, judging from the way the phones have been ringing here at Cake. The reaction on both sides is still hot and heavy, and quite a bit of pro-Gene sentiment will be expressed this evening on the Wichita State campus, and Randy Brown is standing by live right now outside the residence of University President Warren Armstrong, where we understand a rally is just about to get underway. And Randy, I don't suppose it's just a coincidence they chose that as the site for their rally, is it?
No coincidence at all, and much of the feeling is directed toward Dr. Armstrong. We've got about, 2 or 3 dozen people gathered here already. The rally is going to start in about 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm with Connie McLean. She's one of the organizers of the rally, obviously a big Shocker fan. Connie, what do you expect to accomplish? Fired coaches don't normally have adults coming out and rallying against the firing. What do you guys hope to accomplish?
Well, we hope to accomplish that we want the university and President Armstrong to know that we feel our coach is a very special one, and he is worth doing this effort for.
What, you know, a lot of coaches get fired. What's so special about this occasion?
I think Gene Smithson brought this community together after the probation that NCAA put us on. I have been going to the games for that long, and he's just a special individual. I think he cares. He's had a very good season, a very good record overall.
Do you feel this is unfair, too fast, that Gene should be given another year, another 2 years? What is the feeling of this group generally?
The feeling of the group was, one, the way it was handled very promptly at a very bad time. Second of all, that he hasn't been given enough time to get. He's going to have a great season in the next few years, and a new coach is going to be very lucky.
How many folks are you going to have out here tonight?
I hope we'll have a lot to show our support.
Looks like quite a few folks are gathering already, Mark. Dr. Armstrong, by the way, is not here. He's downtown at a Chamber of Commerce Economic Development dinner, but he says he will be meeting with folks, the various protest groups, who are protesting the firing of Gene Smithson, and through the rest of this week. We'll have a complete report for you at 10 o'clock on the rally. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good-sized one. The weather's good, and a lot of folks are showing up.
It happened in New York or L.A., but authorities say it is happening right here in Kansas. Junction City is one of the focal points of the investigation. Bernie Cook has details.
Every day, U.S. soldiers stationed in Korea return to Fort Riley, Kansas. Many come back with Korean wives.